Oh yeah, at some point, I actually thought to turn on my PS2 with the disk drive open so that I could access the browser and delete old game data so I actually had some more save files to use. So if you see that I have, at some point, you see that I suddenly have more files available, that's why. So I actually, I went back to an earlier file to see if I could figure out what I'd missed. So some of the stuff that I've shown in this session is not what I actually did on the file that I have going now, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I had to, you know, get some abilities over again.
I did that a couple of times, but I think I've messed up and I can easily fix it.
Yeah, anyway, I've said that I want to make sure to save a file and keep it up, and keep that save file, like not save over it at the times when the completion percentage is, you know, something 0.0, because that way that I know that I've gotten everything at that point. But I'm also gonna keep a bunch of backup files in between those points, because sometimes there are many hours in between those points. And because like after 19%, the next one of those is at 30. Which is, you know, a good way into chapter 2. So that if I miss something in between, you know, now and then, okay, here it is, here's 19%. I think it was just talking to Owaka that did it, which is strange because I had already talked to him. I guess you had to talk to him again.
That's odd.
Yeah. So then I just skipped, you know, doing that stuff over again and went right to here, which is, again, where you, like the northern section of the Calmlands. I think like some big robot attacks you just like when you come into this area in Final Fantasy X.
I vaguely remember that. Like I said, it's been years since I've played it.
I believe that there are monsters here, but the encounter rate is very low. I don't run into any of them. So I'm not sure that there are monsters here.
Probably is. It's hiding.
But of course, as we know, generally where you see a significant number of people, that means there probably aren't that many monsters.
Nope.
That treasure chest is also hard to see, the one that I just passed. I do go back and get it eventually. You get something related to Auron's big weapon, something or somewhere around here. And I'm making sure there isn't anything significant. My bubbles!
Your bubbles?
He said, this is my spot. For some reason, that made me think of that.
Crystal space. Go away.
So in Final Fantasy X, there's a side quest you can do here, and it involves an optional Aeon and some more of Lulu's backstory. But once again, Chapter 1, you cannot go in there.
Nope, not yet. Come back later.
The more you go through this game, the more you realize that there are a lot of locations that you can access. That one isn't one of them, but there are a lot of locations that you can access that did not exist in the previous game.
It just makes the world feel a lot bigger than it did before.
Here on Mount Gagazet. Kimahri is their
Alright, so
elder.
technically we've already
And
been
he's
to
working
Mount
hard
Gagazet.
to
We
unite
were
his
just kind of
people.
high above it in
Still,
those floating
it seems
ruins.
much quieter here than it
Yes.
used to be. Maybe because
Now it's
summoners
going
no longer
through
come here to climb the sacred
below.
mountain.
Where we sent Team Rocket blasting off again.
Yes. Speaking of that, I watched the first episode of the anime again today, just because I can.
Kimahri!
Yuna look well.
I watched it when I was
Kimahri
younger. I never really
How
got
you
that
been,
into it.
Kimahri?
I
What's it like being an elder?
thought it was...
Elder's job.
Never really liked it that much.
Kimahri troubled.
So yeah, Kimahri's now in charge here. Even though he's not as horny as the other Ronso.
Aid not here. Children have left
What
mountain,
happened to his
gone
horn
to
again?
search for elders' horn.
Two other Ronso broke
What's
it
going
off.
on?
For one of them, like,
Leon and Aid still pops
yeah,
up in Ronso future.
the, what were their
Say they
names?
search for a way
Biron
to
and
fix
Yankee,
Kimahri's
I think.
broken horn.
You
If
fight them,
Kimahri
like, as
advises them
Kimahri
these
alone
things not happen.
when you get to this place
Maybe
in,
so.
in FF10.
Kimahri?
It was them two who broke it off.
High Summoner Yuna, it is Garrett's
Maybe they
honor.
actually say which one of them did. If so, I don't
Nice to
remember
meet
which.
you.
They're basically interchangeable.
Garrett
But that
no
battle
Yuna
is a
sits
chance
still
to
by
get,
Ronso nuts.
like, Ronso Rage skills that you didn't know before. Because, of course, they have a number of them.
I would be playing the game when the it gets re-released on the feature in PS3.
Anyway, the responses I'm choosing here, they do matter. You want to build the Ronso's trust for later events. Generally, you want to choose the responses that amount to sucking up to them. Except with Kimahri. There's, oh, I guess Biron and Yankee are dead now. So there's one response that will make the Ronso trust you less. There's one that will not affect their level of trust, and there's one that will make them trust you more. But the game's not going to tell you ahead of time which one is which. You have to figure it out. Or use a player's guide.
Which is what you're doing.
Of course, because I do not want to do stuff over again.
Nope.
Yeah, once you've already talked to one of them, your response is set. You can't change it. So if you want to see which response and you're following along, then just look in this video. That also goes for the publicity and matchmaking campaigns. I will show, not saying I will show every character, but because there are like hundreds of people. I really hate this. This is so annoying that the video just won't load.
Does it seem to be okay now?
For now, yes, but who knows if it'll be okay in 5 seconds.
Let's hope so.
Kimahri worried
I mean,
about Leon.
sometimes I have to remind myself that we're still in the pretty early days of the internet. I'm hoping that,
Leon and Aid bring them back to
you know,
Gagazet.
that internet will eventually become
Is everything okay?
more reliable.
Kimahri
I mean, it's improved.
Ronso
It has
used
definitely
the horns
improved
of
from where it
ancient
was,
Guado.
say, 10 or even 5 years ago, but it needs to improve more.
Yuna,
I agree.
Kimahri, sorry.
Anyway, so with the Ronso other than Kimahri, you generally want to suck up to them, but with Kimahri himself, you want to be tough.
Yes.
You want to remind him, you're in charge here, act like it. For the responses that you say to him are not for the same purpose as for everyone else. They're not for quest. They're for a a Dressphere later on. So I'm not sure that you technically have to do them to get 100%, but because that Dressphere is cool, I would do it anyway.
Alright then.
I'm hearing some sound on your end from the game.
You should do, because I've got my sound down.
Alright, I'm not sure why that is. Anyway, one of the Ronso you can talk to is... By the way, what's that jingling?
My cat spells.
I was afraid of that.
Yeah.
One of the Ronso you can talk to is in this cave. Just not where the rest of them are. Yeah, and there were a whole lot of dead ends in here. I guess that's because in the first game there were like puzzles you had to complete to move on. But they aren't here in this game, so it just looks like dead ends. Anyway, this battle combination is a good way for the gun mage to get ability points because I have the Fiend Hunter ability that works against each of these three.
Cool.
I'm showing the battle because one of them oversold. My voice is getting tired, so I'm gonna talk a bit less.
Okie
This
dokie.
one's custom made just for you.
Did you see what that guy just did? He just destroyed one of my items. In other words, he just was a total dick.
You bastard! How dare you break an item?
Yeah, well, destroying items will make you my primary target really fast.
You're not done yet.
Unfortunately, this guy is really tough. I've used the Fiend Hunter ability against him twice and he's still not dead. Which means he keeps breaking my stuff.
Oh, bastard. There
Now we
go.
break you.
Break my items and break your face.
Or your shell.
Yeah,
And your face.
is everything. Is all of him.
Yeah, so I'm wondering why this dead end is there and trying to find something, but there is nothing. Yeah, so gun mage abilities, they don't take many AP to learn. It's the blue bullet abilities that you really want, but no amount of AP will let you learn them. Yeah, so
Learn from enemies.
yes. Before I go to the last part of this chapter, I'm going to make sure that I haven't missed any blue bullet abilities that I can get in this chapter.
Good idea.
I may also go around and fight oversold versions of all the enemies where I haven't fought the oversold versions yet, just so that I don't have to do that all at the end of the game. Once again, fighting every oversold enemy possible is not required for 100% completion, but it will get you a garment grid.
Nice.
Alright, if you learn Demisword, then you can learn Excalibur, which deals holy damage, and I think that is useful. If you remember how high-powered the holy spell was in the last game. Like, seriously, Yuna was just a healer, and then once she learned the holy spell, she is suddenly an attack character. In the previous game. I think the Ronso was... No, that wasn't the Ronso, that's a stalagmite. Again, unnecessarily poor lighting.
Not very good in video games.
I mean, here's my view. If you're purposely making the poor lighting a challenge, if you want to make a point of that, that's fine. But otherwise, it's just annoying.